Welcome to the Naked Coach Collective. We're not just your average coaches, we're your powerhouse of inspiration and your no-nonsense guide to unlocking your hidden potential. We are an eclectic mix of four, each with a unique journey, but we share a passion for transformation through coaching. Tune in every week for topical discussions and witty banter on all things coaching. There might be a few laughs along the way too, but don't be fooled. We're serious about helping you navigate life's twists and turns with clarity and confidence. Are you ready? Sit back, relax, and immerse yourself in the Naked Coach Collective podcast.
You got to remember, guys, I am the fossil in the group, so you know, I in a sense,
agreed.
Anyway, enough of that. I'll stop going me, Davina, Australia. Why change your habit, Sarah? I'm joking.
I did a HIIT workout the other day. Oh God, I was in tears almost. This is like the first proper training that I've done in like years. Yeah. And then I did one yesterday. So horrible. Right at the end, because you got to do like a cool down and you're doing all these stretches and everything, and one of them it gets into like a little bit yoga-y with some of the stretches, and one of them's where you lie down on your front and then you like push up to like stretch your abs and what have you. And I was, bear in mind, I was an absolute puddle, right? Just a sweaty mess. And then I feel this thing on the small of my back, and I'm like, oh, and I turn around and Milo's licking the sweat out the bottom of my back. I'm like, oh, you dirty little tosser.
Milo is Ian's dog, yeah? Just for...
Yeah, just for clarity, yeah. Milo is the dog. I'm not sure whether that makes it any better, to be honest.
Yeah, his 2-year-old son wasn't having a drink.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to go on a walk.
Listeners, we've actually never seen Milo, so it's just we're just.
I'm
just.
Is he there, Ian? Is he there with you now?
I'm not sure you are.
Is he there now?
Don't worry, I'm not some kind of person. I do actually have a dog.
Right, I think we need to get started, people. All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, listeners. Welcome to this episode of the Naked Coach Collection podcast. Today, we're asking...
Collective.
What did I say?
You said collection.
Collection.
We're not collecting. We're keeping that in, by the way. So that is the intro.
Not the intro. I'm editing this one. I'm editing this. I am editing this.
These are the bits. It's got to be the. That has got to stay. That's so good. That's got to stay. That could be the outtakes.
Listen, that's not funny. Do you know how many battles I have with my head in terms of collective and collection? The amount of times I tell me I'm not.
Speedo is exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, pillows and pillows. Pillows. I still can't do it.
We're going to change his name, right? Because okay, I didn't even hear myself say it.
Okay, go for it. You're doing well, though.
Right.
Take two.
Here we go. Right. Hello, listeners. Welcome to today's episode of the Naked Coach Collective podcast. Today we are going to be talking about a basic question, really, which I think a lot of people may not have even asked themselves. So, why do you want to be a coach? I'll let that sink in for a while. Why do you want to be a coach? So today we'll discuss the four of us. We're very lucky to have all four of us here. We've got Sarah, we've got V, we've got Ian. Hi, everyone. Sarah's joining us from Australia. So I'm not...
Well, that's not that one yet.
To say that. You don't have to say that.
So we'll find out why...
Sick of hearing it.
But
I'll give you the beat.
I'm joking, Sarah. I love it. I'm joking.
What? So we'll find out why we all wanted to be coaches. And we'll also be talking about why you might want to be a coach. So let's get going. And today we're going to start with Ian.
Yes. How can I help you?
What do you think was pivotal moment in your realization that you wanted to be a coach, and why did it set you off on this journey?
I don't think there was one pivotal moment. I think it was a collection of moments. So I'll delve into that a bit more. So, as part of my job as a project manager, hitting my mic. As part of my job as a project manager, you also take on the role and responsibility of being a mentor. And part of being a mentor is also coaching them as well. Only I didn't realize I was coaching them at the time. And I always really enjoyed that side of it more than the actual managing of projects. And I enjoyed more leading teams of people to reach an ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And achieve a change, whether that's obviously in what I was doing was in business side of things. But I always enjoyed the leading of the people and the mentoring of the junior members of staff to help them get into the same role that I was in, more than the actual management of projects. And as I've mentioned on previous episodes, I was, when the pandemic hit, I thought, well, now is a good opportunity. Now I'm working from home on a regular basis to get a bit of extra income, get some money on the side. And so I was going from one business model to another, essentially and failing at each one, not really understanding why. And I was chatting with someone at my job, and they were like, "You're really good at helping people. You're really good at this and that. Have you ever thought about coaching?" And it never really kind of triggered anything for me at the time. I just knew that I enjoyed the kind of mentorship side of the role that I was currently in. And then, because to me at the time as well, coaching was just like a hippie life coach, tree hugging type thing, and because I was ignorant to it, essentially. I was just very ignorant to it, so it never really registered as something I would be interested in. I thought, I don't want to be sat in a retreat teaching yoga. I just had that kind of image in my head, which is obviously very wrong. And then I came across the ads on Coaching Masters, and I was like, oh, okay, because they offer whatever it is, a very cheap price for like a membership area where you can learn about coaching and everything. So forth. Well, I'll give that a go. Yeah, it kind of blew my mind really with the different elements of coaching and what's involved in it really. And the only way I can describe it as a point where I knew I wanted to do this is I had the same feeling after watching those training videos about how to coach people and what coaching is and all that kind of thing, as when I knew I had to go traveling. So back in 2011, 2010, I think it was, I was in an apartment with my friends, and we laid a map out on the floor and just said, right, where are we going? And from that moment, I knew I had to go traveling. It was just like a guttural, physical feeling in my stomach, in the pit of my stomach, that I had to do this no matter what. And so I lived like a hermit for a year to save up as much money as possible. Moved back in with my mother, which was awful. Nothing to do with her. It's just moving back in with your parents is awful. Sorry, Mum, if you're listening. So yeah, you're just willing to sacrifice so much to get what you want. It's that same kind of feeling with the coaching side. It's very much more of a feeling for me more than anything. It's just something I have to do. And helping people along the way, as I was in the project management role, doing that mentorship and helping them along their journeys. It's just an effect of the coaching where it's like, okay, I feel good about helping these people as well. So it's that gut feeling plus the helping of people, which is why I want to be a coach. I feel like I'm not explaining that very well.
Well, it sounds like...
But I don't care.
No, but your gut feeling, it ignites the desire.
Exactly. And the passion is there, and you can feel it. So it's whether you've come across as you have come across as to why you got into it, absolutely, and the passion is definitely there. Could I ask a question, Ian? Because it's stuff that we're all sharing that's new in some ways. You mentioned that you went through a lot of other business models of different things before. Someone mentioned coaching to you, and you mentioned the word fail, and you said that quite strongly. Why did you feel you failed those?
Because none of them worked.
In what way?
So I didn't make any money from any of them, and I gave up on them.
Okay.
Because there wasn't that feeling like there is now. Whereas this, I know will not fail because it's not something I'm going to give up on.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas because as I teach my clients, there's no failure until you give up. So it's about finding that one thing that you're not going to give up on, which is what I found with coaching. Whereas with all the other things it was like selling stuff on Amazon. It was creating online courses for helping project managers. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I was just trying to do something to make some more money without understanding what it was that I truly wanted behind all of that, making money online kind of thing. Whereas now I know you need to get down into your core values and all this kind of thing and get that thing that you're not going to give up on behind you. That's
really strong. That's what I wanted to ask you, because you've gone from the failure thing, which is a very big word to use, especially in coaching, isn't it? To I'm not going to give up on this, so I'm not going to fail. And I think that's a little bit like one of your mantras, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That you won't fail because any small steps is better than nothing, and you're not going to fail because you keep going. So that's what I was interested in. And again, it's when you say it's difficult to describe, you're right, because it is a feeling, it's a gut, intuitive type. I wouldn't say quite instinct, but it's there. I think you've got to have that in any area, and that's why with coaching you can coach anybody, isn't it? But I think you're right. You got to have that passion.
But also, that failure, the word failure, it still has a positive element to it, where you are at your place where you are right now because you've had those experiences and you've learned, whether you think they're failure or not, and that it's debatable. I would potentially put it as a learning experience. You've brought all that with you. And how would you know that what you're doing right now is the exact same thing, is the right thing that you should be doing if you hadn't tried those other things? You could say, "Oh, I tried it. It wasn't for me. I realized that. I figured it out." And now you've got this coaching world in front of you that you can confidently say, "I've tried everything else. I've learned from everything else that I could have learned, and I'm bringing it to this thing that I'm so passionate about."
That's exactly what I was going to say, Dee. It's a learning
experience. I can see you looking up thinking,
just because it's a word I've used myself with closing my other business. And I used it quite a lot to start with, and you all tell me not to because it was an experience. So when you were saying it, it was like,
what did you say to me, Ian?
You need a coach, right? You need other people to see these things in you.
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, Sarah being told straight away. It's like you do this.
I love it. Sarah, come on, why don't you carry on?
Coaching, when did it come into my aura? I'll go down the hippie route here, Ian, just for you. I'd quite like to do a retreat and play yoga, but hey ho.
Yeah, I would. It looks so relaxing. I just wouldn't want to host it.
When did coaching come into my... many years ago, I think, to be honest. I was aware of it. And going back then, like you've mentioned, the hippie bit in, I think going back to when I first sort of clocked the word, it was very much sports orientated. And I wasn't looking at sports orientation. But even though it's important, exercise is important. So I had it in the back of my mind, I don't know, 10 plus years maybe, alongside being an occupational therapist. And I think aware that at some point I knew I would have to alter my career pathway because of what it was taken out of me personally. as well as professionally. But I didn't do anything about it. I just had it there and back burner type stuff going, oh, yeah, that's interesting. Oh, you could do that, because it is so OT like. It's so lifestyle management like. It's very problem solving, practical, blah 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 blah. And you know, I was coming towards planning sort of retirement stuff, and I've moved jobs fairly regularly through my career to different types of OT roles within the NHS. And it's been good. I find that's very, very healthy to do. I think I've sort of coached myself with that. Don't stay too stagnant, move forward, keep fresh, and that's worked for me. And my ultimate pre-retirement job was this job I took on, and it was, in theory, fantastic. It was setting up a brand new service. It was looking at well-being for people. It was preventative, promoting good, you know, how you look after yourself, working with people in the community. It had all the workings of being OT focused. So in theory, it's fantastic. So I thought, yeah, it was a promotion. Give it a go. Well, I drowned, basically. I drowned in it. It was such a huge ask. And sadly, the girl that took the job on from me, she's left the profession completely now. So it speaks volumes. But anyway, going back to that, I took it on thinking, yeah, give this a go. Lovely people I work with, but it was just huge. Typical NHS throw in, oh yes, let's do that. Boom, let's set it up with no backing, no structure, no nothing to it. You know, no funding for extra staff or anything. So I wouldn't say it was doomed to failure, but it failed for me, and I became very unwell. And I think also I was heading that way because I'd worked through COVID, I worked on a ward, and it was all very not natural, and it took its toll on everybody, didn't it? So the trigger that took me off my job for 10 months was I was collating some patient information. You guys will laugh your socks off at this because you know what I'm like with IT. And my lovely assistant had put all this together on a database, my patients, because I was covering 6 surgeries, which was a really ridiculous amount of people. And then we were told, because of data protection, we couldn't have any personal ID on this list of patients. And I thought, well, I looked at it and basically thought, well, it might as well be effing Japanese. And it was literally that trigger that just went, my brain just went, and it couldn't function. It just couldn't. It just went into like meltdown. And I had to step out of that arena there and then, and was pretty ill. Not a place I would ever want to revisit, and not a place I'd want anybody else to revisit. Felt very stuck. And I'd always been very confident as an occupational therapist. I wouldn't necessarily say in years gone by I was confident personally with many things in my life, but as an OT, I'd always been very confident. I'd always supported the underdogs, held my head above the parapet when needed. Didn't necessarily have a lot of respect in management, but professionally, I was very proud of the profession and what I can do for people. My confidence was pulled. The rug was well and truly pulled, and I thought, oh God, this has never happened to me. So it was really not a nice place to be. So I really know what it's like to be mentally unwell for quite a long time. And I never thought I could come back into the arena. So I was then thinking, shit, got to pay the bills. What am I going to do? I've got to, got to work on it, got to get better. And the typical OT things, got to make things right. But I literally couldn't move. For 6 months, I literally felt like I was in a barrel treacle. Gosh. But then things started to improve. I had a lot of support and stuff. And coaching came back up. I was seeing the ads for coaching masters, and I thought, okay, a bit shiny, this is all young and sparkly and exciting. What shall I do? Shall I look into this more? So that's what I did. When I started to get better, I needed something to focus on because I'm a bit of I like to sort of do. I'm quite a busy person generally, so I like to do things. And I felt, right, maybe this will help me come out of my own black hole. And I also realised I'd never really invested in myself. Financially invested in myself, and for me this was key. And I think for people looking at this, I think this is the thing. If you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, actually I'm worth this.
Yeah, I'm
worth funding this cause. And I didn't have the money. I didn't have spare money. I was on sick pay or whatever else. But I thought, I've got to do this. Something told me this would be a way forward. And part of me was thinking, this is going to be a way out. This is going to solve all my problems, and I'm going to not go back to OT ever again, burn my uniform, get on with it. So it's a little bit unrealistic. I think that's another topic we can discuss another time. But I thought it can perhaps help me on my recovery as well. So that's why I did it. Wasn't sure which area of coaching I was going to go into, but in some ways it was it would be new and challenging, but I got an awful lot of experience under my belt already working with people, and communication was really important to me. It's the one skill I know that I've got, being able to speak to someone who's homeless, to Lord of the Manor. Those are the things that we've had, through 30 years of working as an OT. You don't know who you're going to be talking to, working with. So that started my journey with Coaching Masters. And like you, Ian, I joined with the offer of the courses you could pop in and look into, and then I sort of, in a sense, would say perhaps sucked into it, but into the bigger picture of Coaching Masters and what it can offer. And I just thought, actually, I'm going to, but the important thing for me was I was going to invest in myself.
Yeah.
I was worth this. I needed something to move forward. And I think I'm going to leave it at that, because I'm glad I'm doing it. I love working with people. I'd lost that completely when I was ill. And I thought all I wanted to do was go and work with dogs. Yay! Bring it on. Very fluffy companions. Yes, please. But I found, when I was recovering, I thought, no, Sarah, your skills with people. You're knackered, you're ill, you got to recover. But don't lose this skill. It's what you have to. And you sort of look at, well, hang on, what is your purpose on this planet at this moment in time? And I thought, you can ignore it if you want to go. You can go, no, I'm not doing that. Go work in Tesco's, it's fine. But actually, my skills are working with people. So,
well done. Thank
you.
Thank you. Wonderful. So you really just wanted to pull yourself out of what you to leave behind and go forward into something new, which you knew you were taking your skills. You were bringing your with you, weren't you, from your OT into something new that you had a passion for.
And I was recognising it. I think that was the key for me, turning it around and starting to move forward. I was moving forward rather than being stuck, and I wasn't then having to revisit working in an arena that was quite toxic. And so I was changing my own pathway. And I think that's really important when you're looking at this as well. It's what you want. It's your own journey, your own pathway, and
working for yourself as well.
So, and that's obviously the big aim.
Yeah.
And that's why, I'm just going to put this in for Ian, because he loves this. That's why I'm in Australia for 2 months. And, Nina.
No, but that's the reason, isn't it? A lot of people want to become a coach because they want to bring their skills to do work for themselves.
You want a different lifestyle. I'm at that, I am at that retirement age. I want a different lifestyle now.
Yeah.
I think you get a realization that you're not going to be here forever. And what do you want out of life? And I think that's a big push towards coaching for me. Was this is about what I want.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying the bills for my children. I wasn't doing this. This was the first realization that it's about what is it that I want to do.
Yeah. And I mean, may I just say, I know you call yourself sort of the Mother Hubbard of the group, but, it's really inspiring to see, it's not too late. 30 years as, working for the NHS occupational therapy, you're not saying, oh, it's too late. You want something and you're going for it. And I know another lady like that is our Bee.
Just before we move on to B, sorry.
Sorry?
Just before we move on to B, sorry. Sarah, was Dee calling you old then?
Oh, no.
It's never too late.
I never got old.
How rude.
I said Mother Hubbard. She calls herself. Sorry, Sarah.
I do. And I would just say, just to clear the air here now, folks, I would say retirement is a dirty word in my vocabulary now. That should be absolutely erased, because we're all in different arenas. None of us are. I look at my kids; they're never going to be able to retire. So let's get rid of that. It's not a healthy one. And I say, look at the next chapter where you have choices, and this, is where coaching really comes in.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Actually, you just said something there that just sparked something that Ian told me to read, which was, and I hate trying to say the name of it, Ikigai, because actually This is, and I'm trying to remember the culture in Chinese, Japanese, I can never remember.
Japanese.
Yeah. And they don't have a word for retirement.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't exist. And they live the longest lives of most people in the world. And it's just interesting that you said that, you know, you don't like the word retirement. Anyway, I digress. Sorry. So how did I get into coaching? Okay, let me have a think about it. Well, I know when it happened. So when I found coaching, I was actually in grief therapy. So I had a business at the time. I had a ladies' boutique, and in January 2021, during COVID, during lockdown, my sister passed away within a week in hospital, unexpectedly. Not expected. And through that period of time, through trying to organise a funeral and, you know, that you couldn't have, or, you know, in the format that's normal. And then the world opening back up, my business opening back up, fighting like hell to keep my business, which I'd done right from day one of COVID. Got to the end of that year, so that was 2021. I hadn't really thought or done anything about my sister's death. It just happened. Does that make? I don't know if that makes sense to everybody. You just got an autopilot and you just do. And come the Christmas, I didn't want to be around. I didn't want to do Christmas without my sister. So I took off. We went off to Norfolk for Christmas because I thought that would solve all my problems. As you all know, running away doesn't do that. And Christmas Day, I woke up really early in the morning. I got up, sat there on my own, and I wrote a diary. First time I'd ever written a diary since I was about 12 years old. And I wrote to my sister. And I knew that something was wrong, and I knew I was wrong. Sorry. And I knew I was falling. And I didn't know what to do. I'd never felt like that. I've been such a strong woman all my life, cope with everything that's been thrown at me. And I've had some pretty few things thrown at me. And in the January, I actually went and asked for help. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I found the doctor, and I had to have some tablets because I'd had some not very good thoughts. And then they put me forward for grief counselling. But if any of you know, at that time, trying to get counselling without paying for it was really hard. So I waited nearly 6 months, and I got my counselling, and it was great. Actually, I got a really good woman. I connected with her, and it really helped me get over some of the real guilt I felt around my sister's passing. And at the same time as that happened, I think I'd run out of steam for keeping the business going. You know, it got really hard, whether that was me or whether that was, I don't know. So at the same time, coaching started coming up on my feed. And I don't know how or why. Maybe it's because I talked about therapy. It's all very clever stuff. And like Ian, like Sarah, I saw the Coaching Masters. You can join for this low price and get all this content. And I thought, what is coaching? I didn't even know what it was. I've never heard of it. And I thought, oh, I've gone to sign up, have a look. So I did. I signed up and I started looking around, and there is a huge amount in their vault, which is fabulous stuff. And then sort of, I don't know, I just, like Sarah, don't know how I got caught up in it, but just decided to invest in myself. I did the first course, which was the certification. And I think that was when I knew it was not just about helping me, and it was helping me because my therapy took me so far. Dealt with what I felt around my death and various things in my past, but yeah, and then you want to move forward. Then I actually felt like I could possibly have a life, that there was something more after her passing, which I'd never felt for that whole sort of lead up to it. I just felt my life that I should be with her. I shouldn't be here. I should be with her. And so I found coaching and did this sort of certification. I thought, God, this is really powerful stuff. This is really clever. So I thought, I can do more of this. Again, like Sarah, didn't have the money, but it's amazing what you find when you haven't. And I enrolled on the course. And the format of the course, when you share coaching with others, was so powerful, not just realizing how I could affect people, or not affect, how I could help people, but how they helped me, how it helped me. And I was sold, really. Within 2-3 weeks, I was sold. It was like a passion. It was like, something's brought me here. I'm definitely supposed to be here. I am definitely supposed to be helping others. And like Ian, I've been in management roles. I run a team of 50 women, you know, and had to sort of motivate them. And so I've been doing it all my life, really, but in various different guises. And so that's how I became a coach. And that's how I'm here today, as passionate as the day that I started training. I had a session with a client last night, and I've been a bit doubting of myself lately. You go through these dips and highs, don't you, guys? We all do. And this is just a second session, but I just realised, actually, I came off that session and I realised, and this is going to sound really big-headed, so it's not meant that way. It's just reaffirming myself. I actually said, do you know what? You're a bloody good coach. And I don't say things like that to my, they'll all say this. I do doubt myself quite a lot in areas, and that's a mindset thing that I work on all the time. But it just gave me that, do you know what? Actually, it's just those moments that you give your clients, and there's lots of them, you actually get back. And that's my story. Okay.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you. I just want to tell you, you know, so much resonated with me when you were saying that, because you just talk about the passion that comes through in it, and something called you. And I think we all felt it, you know, to a degree, where suddenly we're seeing all these adverts on Facebook and for what we're actually looking for. I mean, how on earth?
Because they're listening.
It's like we're manifesting it, you know, and similar as well. Like everyone said, you know, we see it and you think, okay, they were just talking to me. You know? Like, gosh, you'd be a really good coach. And I thought, oh, I'll have a look. And I wanted to let the teaching go, and you know, and I was looking into it, and it just started. And as soon as I started clicking on these little snippets of information, it was all, you know, it was all there. But what happened for me as well is I didn't want to just jump into, because their courses are not cheap, you know. So I went off and I did quite a few smaller courses just to make sure this was something that I really wanted to do. And every time I started doing a cheaper course, or just, you know, not as massive an investment as the accreditation was. Obviously, they were not giving me an accreditation, and I knew ultimately I'd have to do that, and I wanted to do that. But I just wanted to get a lot of background in, and everywhere I looked, there was just stuff there that I wanted to take on and absorb and use in my coaching. So it felt like while I was doing it, it was happening to me as well. So I was becoming this coaching person that I just was manifesting, making. But I mean, it's the reason, you know, I was sort of thinking about this subject before we started talking about it, and there's all of our reasons. But why do you want to be a coach? Talking to our listeners, I've got a few ideas, and I thought, you know what, first of all, listen, money. Hey, we all need to make a living, right? We all need to earn money. So, and coaching can pay well. But if you're in it just for the money, I'm afraid you're in the wrong business, right?
Yeah.
There's many more easier ways of making money, right? But it's an important factor for money. Then we've got I want to help people. And that's a really valid thing, because, you know, we've all said it and we all believe it and we all want to help people, because actually, you know, we do help people all the time. You know, it's what, even be with your shop, you know, you help people feel good, right? That's what you do. You know, Ian, you facilitate all sorts of things and you help people and you answer their calls at whatever time. I know you do, when they need your help, right? You want to do that and you do that. And Sarah, OT work is just phenomenal. You know, so we all want to help people, you know, and teaching is that. So we want to help people. We want to earn a living, you know, but we also want to develop ourselves. as well, our own our own person, the person that we are. And I think coaching, as you're learning to be a coach, you develop yourself almost by default.
Yes. And I think sorry, go on, Dee.
No,
Sorry.
no, please join in.
No, I was just going to say from that point of view, when you look at human beings and what we do, how we function and stuff like that, and everybody's very individual, and that's a big part of coaching. And we love that bit. Everybody comes with different stories and different reasons and different problems. But fundamentally, if you strip back what we are as human beings, we are there to be occupied. And this is my career has been occupational therapy. People, the title doesn't tell you what we do as humans, but we're not meant to be sitting doing nothing. We're meant to be doing things, and if we can do things that we enjoy, we get so much more. When you look at the whole person, and in coaching, we look at the whole person, don't we? So it's a holistic input on it, input, output, whatever. But it's looking at what makes you function. And I think it's that classic: don't sit and do nothing. It's not good for you. And coaching really can unlock this. If you feel stuck or stagnant or don't know where you're going, or opposite, you're so anxious, there's too much going on that you need to review everything. And so it's what we naturally do as people. It's really important to think what it's all about or what's important to you, but sitting still just isn't a good option for anybody. It's not healthy.
No, not at all. And I mean, on that point, sorry, Sarah.
I was going to say, I also think when you're saying about, you want to be a coach because you want to help people, absolutely. But I also think that when you come into coaching, you start to realise that it's not about, I think one of the things we do really well as humans is tell other people what to do. Okay. I hate to say this, but we have this trait, and that isn't coaching. And I don't think people realise that. People looking for coaches, you're looking to be coached. And even before you become a coach, I don't think you realise that isn't it, because everybody thinks they've got to be an expert. You're not you are the expert as a coach, of course, but you're not the expert in that person. So there's no good you saying, well, this worked for me, try it. You've got to find out what's going to work for them by asking the right questions. So I think there is that help. Yeah, we want to help, but coaching help is very different to teaching help or mentoring. You understand what I'm trying to sort of get, I think,
there's kind of quite a fine line, isn't there? So, and I kind of veer on both sides as part of my kind of program. So we go through this whole coaching element at the start where we're figuring out what they want and all this kind of stuff. And then we move into more of a, right, okay, do this. This is what you need to do. And then they come to me with problems when they're doing things and it's like, try this, try that. With elements of coaching still in there because you're trying to keep up the mindset and all that side of things. But there's a very fine line, and it is tricky sometimes because sometimes you do want to jump in and say,
come on. You can see it, but they can't. And
Get on your tongue, don't
you? That fine line comes with, there's a really great saying, and it's like, you only know what you know. Okay. So yes, you could go deeper and uncover stuff, but actually yours, particularly Ian, is business. And so if you've got a business strategy that can help them, if they don't know it, they don't know it. It's not something that's going to be inside them. So that's where the fine line gets crossed, isn't it?
And I think
exactly. Sorry, Sarah, go on.
No, go finish that one off because it's about business. You were saying.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a way I look at it as when it's business. I know I can say, do this, do that, do that, do this, whatever it is, or try this, try that, because there's tons of different strategies out there. But when it comes to the coaching side, at the very start of the program, the first month or two, it's more a case of I'm not telling them to do this. It's me helping them figure out what they need to do themselves. It's hard to explain, isn't it? It's like asking the questions to help bring the answers to the front of their mind, because if you're in a coaching session and you, like you say, you want to jump in sometimes, if you were to jump in, you're just telling them what your opinion of that situation is, but they need to come to their own realizations of why that situation is the way it is. That's what I was trying to say. Again, I was just waffled then, I'm sorry.
I think that's we mentioned it
I'll
before.
do that a lot this morning.
Sorry, Ian, I've got to pull you up on something. The word sorry was a big issue when we
I know.
first started coaching, and you kept telling me off, so now I'm telling you off.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's why we
looked at the definition of coaching on our other chat, didn't we, or other podcast, and it's very true that we facilitate. We're not making decisions for somebody. We're there for them to find out what they need to do next. But the one thing I wanted to go back when we're saying, why do we want to be a coach? And we all said we want to help people. I would then say on top of that, whoever's looking at coaching, if you want to look at coaching, why do you want to help people? Want to do it for a hell of a lot of reasons, and they're not always healthy. A little bit negative in some ways. You need to look at why do you want to help people? Because we've met so many through all areas that you're thinking, well, why is it you want to do this? And it's not necessarily perhaps the right thing. So I would add that quite strongly underneath. Why do you want to be a coach?
Yeah.
I want to help people. Why do you want to help people? Yeah.
And on that point as well, helping people does help yourself as well. You get satisfaction from
so much. Yeah, so much from it.
Yeah, it can be a pure thing, a pure love or a pure help that you get from a pure feeling that you get, a gratitude that you get from helping other people as well. So and leaning on from that, Sarah's point there, which was wonderful, and also the for me as well, that why I wanted to be a coach, it led into self-discovery as well. Self-discovery, it led into motivating myself to push myself to do more, because it was, back to Ian's point, a passion that I couldn't do anything else. So those were my reasons, the money, of course, the helping people, but the what you do for yourself is just phenomenal. I know I'm a different person than 3 years ago. I know that I deal with things in a different way, and I'm happy for that, because my eyes have been opened in so many things. Actually, it brings to mind just a coaching conversation I had with a client only a few weeks ago, and we've touched on this throughout the session today in terms of deciding why. Your decisions, as often you're faced with a multitude, and Sarah said, you've got all these ideas and you've got all these options, or you've only got 2 options or whatever. But what I found as well, I learned this, actually, it's not mine, I learned it from TCM, and it's the idea of where you've got 2 options and you think about, well, what does your head say? So when I thought about, do I want to do coaching, do I want to continue teaching, and my head said, oh, teaching is safe, you've already done it, it's all sorted and everything else. So then that's one point to teaching. And then I said, well, and then I asked, ask yourself, well, what does your heart say? My heart said, oh my God, I want to be a coach, right? We've got one each. We've got one each. So we're looking at this crossroads, this divergence.
Dilemma, really. Yeah.
And, and I was saying, oh my God.
Yeah, no, but I love the hand actions.
Don't do hand actions, listeners.
That's fun. You do some kind of Egyptian dancing.
So no, I mean, so my head's got one, my heart's got one. So then and then this thing I realized after I'd done the training that this is what I did to myself was, what does your gut say? My gut said, for God's sake, girl, why are you even hanging about here making this question? So I had 2 against 1. I had heart and gut telling me, and my head sort of said, yeah, all right, go on, do it then. But it's
Fine.
It's such a brilliant thing. I used this in a coaching conversation, and just only a couple of weeks ago, and this guy had so many thoughts going on in his head, and going through this process, which he resisted, didn't want to do it. And I said, right, no, come on. I've kept bringing it back. You do this. This is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to. And eventually, he cleared out so much and got this clarity to make a decision, which had been plaguing him for months. Can't make a decision, can't make. So, that idea of the coaching can give you the power to to do that for yourself and for other people is just phenomenal. And every time I have a coaching conversation with someone, it just reinforces that this was the right thing. Heart and gut helped. If it was heart and head, it would have been fine. As long as there's two things against one, go with two. You know, I mean, I haven't explained that clearly, and I will at some point in the future. But I was just like, thought, wow, this is great. This is great. And that keeps reinforcing why I want to be a coach, and why, you know, why a lot of reasons why a lot of people want to be a coach, as well as the basics.
Okay, should we wrap it up there?
Absolutely. Well done. Any final thoughts, anyone?
Passion. I just think passion is so different.
And you know what? The one thing you said, Dee, everybody thinks money is such a dirty word to talk about. It really is those words, right? But at the end of the day, right, you can either earn money doing something you hate, or you can earn money doing something you love. That makes a difference.
Yes. Have that passion, the money will follow. You know, it's just you do it. If you love what you do it better than you would if you didn't love what you do. So take the time to figure out what you love, and if you love coaching, then you know it's there. It's there. It's waiting.
And if you don't know what,
to help you on your journey.
if you don't know what you love and you need a coach, you're not lying. A little bit of a plug there, but carry on.
Oh, wonderful! Right, I love you guys.
Brilliant.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Naked Coach Collective.
Hopefully we're all waiting for collection then.
You're all waiting for collection then, aren't you?
Just leave in.
Right. Can I just say, if anybody has seen any of my media or anything that I put in collection, can you just send me a private message? Yeah, guys?
No, I just blast you on all the actual messages.
No.
You know, don't make a big deal. Just send me a private message. Say, darling, listen.
Can you do a bit
I'll
of
call you out.
Can you do everything, Ian? Put it all together and just edit it and send it to her. Say, press that button.
Press that button. Collective, yes. Well done, everyone. Well done. Yeah.
Brilliant.